Greetings to the family out there, and I want to start by saying that it's time to detox, heal, serve, and walk. Now, having said that, we're still dealing with trying to build our relationships back to love and figure out what's going on with them. And today's topic, we're dealing with, again, we're going to take the woman side of it and why a potential healthy, good relationship may fizzle out. And a lot of the women are saying that it's because men are boring. I've seen a pretty big celebrity post in her Instagram that she prays a boring man never finds her. Now that's a big statement because, to pray on something like that is to ask God that a man that she deems as boring, only boring, hasn't committed a crime, is not a predator of any kind, is not, doesn't knock people over the head and steal from them. The man goes to work, takes care of himself, takes care of his responsibility. And his indictment is that he's a little boring. So that's a real thing. And is it a silly thing? Is it natural to a woman's nature? Or is it a deception that has fallen over the woman? A spirit that has fallen over the woman and she's being deceived by a spirit. So get into it a little. To be boring or to be perceived as being boring is now, it's almost criminal that a person just can't be themselves and, deal with the journey of their life in a way that's conducive to how they like it. And I find that, there are very easy solutions if you perceive someone to be in that manner. But before we get into the solutions, we'll delve basically back into what's happening. Is being boring or a man being boring natural to a woman's displeasure? How far in the past were women more concerned with a man's ability to entertain her, or were they more concerned with a man's ability to maintain them? Okay, I would go with the latter. I think that women in yesteryears were much more concerned with the man's ability to sustain and maintain the family as opposed to, being always entertaining, like a jester of some sort, just constantly has to, be entertaining to a woman. So, but if we move up to more contemporary times, this movement really started in like the 1960s, and in the 60s is when the women's liberation movement really took a hold, and they got past some very important things that kind of set the table for, this new mindset that women are now trying to figure out and make work in today's time. 1960 is not that far away. 60, or so years ago. Maybe 70 years ago, really say it started. So, like in 1960, like for one example, the pill was approved in 1960. The FDA approved the birth control pill, okay, giving women control over that aspect of their body. In 1963, Congress passed the Equal Pay Act, okay, to stop wage gaps based upon sex, okay. In 1964, the Civil Rights Act passed, alongside of black people fighting for their right to be human. Alongside of that, women were empowered with some civil rights themselves as a gender. And in 1966, the activists formed the National Organization for Women, okay, to fight for equal treatment in the workplace and society. So 1960 was a very powerful time period for women's rights, women's liberation, and that is a beautiful thing. But as the saying says, with great with great power, you now have great responsibility. So you now have this power to do certain things, but is the mindset of, okay, I have to be responsible of being accompanied with that, because I don't see that being taught. I just see, women getting this, getting that, different powers, but nobody is articulating the proper responsibility for this new power given. And sometimes power exceeds nothing without demand. So now you have women empowered, emboldened, and they're kind of usurping all authority, and whatever they say go. And if you don't like it, too bad. Well, this is having an effect on our relationships. And I know it is not women's desire to destroy their relationships. So there has to be a cooling down period. Okay, you received all these beautiful rights, all these beautiful entitlements, but now you have to cool down, let it resonate, develop it, and bring it back with humanity. Okay, yes, I have this, but I'm not going to be rude. I'm not going to be arrogant. You have to be willing to work with humanity, including your men. There were also a couple of, these are women that preceded the 60s movement. This is where it got started. Women like Karen Hornsby. She had a psychoanalytical theory that states that the development and neurosis are shaped primarily by childhood relationships and cultural factors rather than biological instincts. So this argument is to say that, a woman being soft and nurturing is not biological. It's because of the circumstances that they're raised in. Also, Naomi Weinstein, she considered herself a radical feminist, and she used comedy and music as a way to disseminate her views and ideologies. She was a big part in the Women's Liberation Union as well. She promoted, more feminism though. So you have, the movement that took place, and now women are kind of sitting practically, yes, there is like the 1% men, and maybe even the 10 to 15% men. But then the body of people, say the 85%, women are pretty much equal to men, in in society, the masses. So with that, those great leaderships, there is responsibility that has to be considered. Also, if we're going to deal with, women being bored with men and this being the catalyst for the dissolution of a relationship, we have to consider all possible aspects to save these relationships. I'm not a big zodiac person, but there are personality traits that you can kind of find in what time of the year you were born. Now, there are signs that we have labeled ourselves that are kind of like more outgoing than others. Some are considered, I guess, more boring than others. And I'm sure, again, that there are millions of women that do not mind having a boring guy or what is perceived to be a boring guy. But because people, there's a saying in the Bible that says people are like sheep, and that's why you need a good shepherd. If women are inundated with thoughts of this man is boring, he can't be boring, that can persuade other women who may not mind a boring person to be kind of persuaded to think, well, you know what, it is a little irritating, and this could ruin a relationship. That could be a healthy relationship. You can't just throw away people based upon things that are fixable. But according to some of the numbers, so like some people say that earth signs are a little bit more boring. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get into the signs, but there are considered to be 89 million people that fall under the earth sign. Okay, so that's 25% of the United States population. Okay, the population in America is about 349 million people. Okay, and 89 million of those are considered to be earth signs. Okay. Now, there are what they consider more exciting signs, but these people may not necessarily resonate with your personality. But since we're going over some of the numbers, they are considered to be about 104 million air signs and 89 million fire signs. Okay, so that's close to 200 million with those signs that are not necessarily what people might say. These people are not as boring as maybe some of the other signs. Now, you could calculate and make moves based upon that. There is some truth to it. But if you get a good person in your life, we're specifically talking to women, and their point at dissolving a relationship based upon a man being boring, you could possibly do research and find a person that has a personality trait that is more spontaneous, as opposed to making decisions based upon just looks and phenotype and how somebody smells or carries itself. In order for a relationship to work, you have to possibly do some research to say, does this person match up with me? Are we compatible past the superficial stuff? Okay, So, we have to consider everything because we want our relationships to work and be successful. So, again, this is our series in trying to reunite people and bring them back to love, honor, relationship, not just going around and doing whatever you want to do, and because it's taking a toll on our community at this point. I mean, the communities are like tattered, with just like people wondering what's going on and what happened, and a lot of it is based upon us not respecting one another and our journey through life. It's just you only have a short time in life, and you want your journey to be as pleasant as possible. And more importantly, we want to set a good example for the children coming behind us, that men and women can work together. We're not enemies. Just because I see you on the street and I smile at you doesn't mean that I have some sinister autorial motives behind it. We have to get back to loving and honoring and respecting one another and giving each other a chance, just out of human courtesy and human decency. And if we enter into a relationship, let's not end it because, somebody is perceived to be boring. Instead of ending it, how about you take the initiative? The woman take the initiative to say, okay, yeah, he's a little boring, but I'm going to introduce some things into our relationship to spice it up. I'm not going to end it. I'm just going to try and get him to be a little more assertive into what we're trying to do. So once again, family, thank you for listening. I appreciate you tuning in. I hope you will subscribe to the channel and join the conversation. And let's bring our relationships back to love. Peace.